I am back with another review, and this one is going to be on Amazon Prime Video, The Lie, which is actually another movie that is under Jason Blum's Blumhouse Productions. So I was very excited to see this movie because, as I mentioned before in my last review, I've become a really big fan of his. It started with Insidious. Insidious is my favorite horror movie series of all time. I'm going to start off by saying I will be spoiling this movie, so if you have not seen it yet and you do not want to get spoiled, leave now. But if you have and you want to see the rest of the review, grab a snack. So the first thing I'm going to go ahead and start off with saying is this movie is very, very upsetting in a lot of different ways. It can come off kind of like, it's one of those movies where you have to understand that it has a deeper meaning. There's a lot that goes into something like this. And when I say that is, at first I watched the movie and it was hard for me to get over how upsetting this movie was for me. And I kept pausing it because I was just like, I was having like mental breakdowns. I was like, I can't do this. This is just ridiculous. I cannot believe this. And you know what else pisses me off? Like I almost stopped the movie several times to complain about the movie to my fiance, who honestly checked out 30 minutes into the film, just checked out and started like scrolling on his phone. This movie deals a lot with mental issues, mental health, and just how far something can go and spiral. I'll go ahead and give you a synopsis of the film. Like I said, if you haven't seen it before and you don't want to get spoiled, I'll just tell you what it's about, and then we'll go further into the actual like review of it. But basically it's about a young girl who goes ahead and invites a best friend to come with her on a trip to a resort, a ballet resort, I believe they were going to for the winter. And basically she commits a murder. She pushes her best friend off of a bridge. And this is pretty much where the movie starts. So once again, don't want to get spoiled, get out of here. But yeah, let's move on. So I want to start off by saying the acting in this movie is really good. Very good. I didn't feel like there was any sort of overacting. I didn't feel like it was over, cheesy or anything like that. I thought everyone did a really good job. Specifically the mother. Obviously all the main characters did a really good job. They helped to bring this film to life. And I think because of their performance, it made me even more angry because it was so believable. And so I think that that's great. At first, I was very upset because I was putting a lot of blame on the girl, because the girl clearly has a lot of mental issues. When you first meet her, the film starts off with you showing her distaste for her parents being with different people. It's not really capitalized or shown that much for you to see where this film is gonna go. It's just a quick, they're referencing it a little bit, but this ends up being the sole reason for why this young girl decides that she's going to keep a lie going that just spirals into something that she had no idea it was gonna spiral into. At the end of the movie, I found myself going from hating her or just being so disgusted with her to actually feeling really sorry for her. Unfortunately, it's a very real thing that happens, real topic that a lot of people don't discuss, and it's something that can totally happen in real life. And that's, I guess, what's so unsettling about this film, is that it hits hard because it's realistic. That's actually one of the things that I like about his films. A lot of times when I watch his films, I've started to realize that his films always have a deeper meaning. A lot of it has to do with mental health. And that's where the whole horror of it comes from, is that this can actually really happen, or that there are people who live this way in a sense, like mental illness, dementia, Parkinson's, all those things that affect a person's memory and can change and alter a person or make a person do crazy things or unrealistic, things like that. And so this girl is struggling so hard with mental issues, which was apparent for me. Her two parents really didn't, I guess, grasp it or think that it was that bad. And all they did is enable her after she said killed her best friend. And then at one point, I even remember the mother specifically saying, yeah, she cuts herself. I took her to the therapist. It didn't help. So that was it. It was almost like she said, so it didn't help. So we just stopped. I wouldn't stop. I would go to another therapist, or I would see if maybe alternatives. Are there medications that we can help her, that we can put her on to help her? Are there therapeutic like groups that she can join? The resources that this woman could have tried to seek and didn't, the film just didn't show her doing it, was very unsettling for me, very upsetting. And it's even worse because the film kind of doesn't go out of their way, but the film does show you that she's wealthy. She could have totally gotten her daughter all the help she needed. She works, I don't think they said exactly what she does, but she does work for the police department, or she does something that's in law enforcement, because she has a friend in the law that she ends up getting involved, who ends up being her undoing. But anyways, the friend makes a comment where, yeah, I'll go out to lunch if you're paying. You're the only one that can afford it. So clearly this mother is very well off, could have afforded the help for her child, but just made a conscious decision. I'm eating a candy, so it's making me sound weird. A conscious decision. A conscious decision to not further her daughter's recovery. I thought it was just that she was oblivious to it, but she's well aware that her daughter has issues because her mother knew about the cutting. Father didn't know, but the mother knew, and it just didn't really seem like she tried her best to help her daughter. So that for me was like, I was like, oh, you're the real asshole here. This small girl, unfortunately, is the product of her mother and father and just the total neglect that she has been given. Now, they don't show you how the parents divorced. They don't show you how it went down. Clearly, however it went, it affected this child very badly, which I can actually knock the movie off for and say that we don't really get a good glimpse to kind of understand where this stems from. The kind of issues that she's exhibiting, though, seems just very not chosen. She feels like she's being abandoned by both her parents. She feels like she's being neglected. Those are things that build over time, and several different things can contribute to a person feeling that way or her not fitting in. She does mention how her friends don't like her, that she doesn't feel like she fits in. Once again, these are all little breadcrumbs that kind of lead you to the bigger picture for her. But I think showing the parents more of their side, their divorce, things like that, could have helped us to really understand this child's trauma and how she, and why she does the things she does that ultimately leaves you shocked in the end. Because you don't really know how bad she is until the fucking best friend comes into the view again, and you're like, I'm not gonna lie, I was actually surprised. It caught me. I really didn't expect this film to surprise me that much. So to find out that her best friend's alive and she was lying to her parents the entire time because she saw that this situation was bringing them together, she thought this was a good thing, but it was actually tearing these people apart. And then they end up committing a murder to protect her. But she don't know all this, clearly. Just the warped way that she saw this situation. And the fact that she didn't think that committing a murder was, she downplayed it in a sense. Not the way a normal person would. And she just wasn't grasping what it was doing to her parents. And then she started to think that this was a way for her parents to come together. So she continued to keep up with the lie. End credits. I just said the title. It just further shows you how much help this child needs. The whole movie is spent with her parents trying to cover this up for her, keep her safe. And I just wanted more from the film in that aspect. I wanted to see them really trying to help their child, taking her to sessions, talking to doctors, doing things that parents should do. But at the same time, clearly these parents have issues themselves, which you further start to see as you continue the film. So it's one of those things where it's who do I blame here? I want to blame the parents because they're the parents. But when the parents themselves aren't right, it just goes back to who are we blaming now? Their parents? That's like a chain of blame when something this bad happens or something this wrong happens. Then the mother involves her friend or investigator, I'm assuming that's what she was, involves the friend, tries to frame the father of the child who's missing, tries to convince their daughter to put the blame on her best friend's father with the whole abusing story. Their attempt to try and solve this problem was to make it seem like the best friend's father was abusing this child, and that's why she ran away. And that was the last that they saw her, that they knew that she was being abused, blah, 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 because she had a mark on her cheek. And so that was their way of saying, oh, well, clearly her father abuses her. That's why she ran away. And that's the story that they go with. There's a lot of wrong in this movie. It's a lot to digest. And it's kind of difficult because my fiance was like, this was a horrible movie. And I said, Actually, it's not. It's really not. When you sit there and you think about it and you watch the movie and you take it for what it is and you understand the deeper meaning of it, I don't think it's a bad movie. I think that it's a very upsetting movie because of what it is. It does shed a light on something, and that's what you have to take it for, which most people might not, because once again, it's just, you're seeing it at face value, you're seeing it for what it is. It's kind of like Oculus. I watched Oculus and I hated the film. I thought it was a horrible movie because I was just like, what? But then I read more into it, and this is when I first started getting into his films. I read more into it, and I realized that there was a deeper meaning to it, and it was about mental health, and it's scary. The movie is very reflecting of the mental health that her parents suffered with, which caused their children suffering. And it's just a deeper meaning, and once you understand that, you're like, oh, okay. And that's pretty much what this film is. It could have been executed better. The way that they build up and pace this movie could have been better. I wanted to see more of her. I wanted to see her journey, what led to this snap in her head. You know what I mean? Like, if you're going to give me a story of mental issues, I want to see the whole story. I want to see what led to this character's undoing. I also wanted to see something that was very crucial. When her parents confront her after they realize that she was lying and that her best friend is alive, this character breaks down, and her reasoning for doing what she did was because she saw them together. She saw them happy again, and she wanted them to choose each other, to choose her. So she wasn't ever thinking about just the fact that what she did was wrong. All she was thinking about was that she wants her parents together again. They just didn't know. What are you going to say to that after you just realized you committed a murder to protect your child? The mother was a whole mood. The way this mother's acting was like how it's just, her acting was phenomenal, especially towards the end of the film. Just the mother's reaction. Like, there's literally this one shot in the film where the mother's just like, she just looks so defeated, just so befuddled, flabbergasted, shocked. It's just, her emotion sells the film. I also think that there could have been a lot more compelling things they could have added to show that the parents really were trying. Once again, I don't know if that was the intent. It was to show that her parents were this neglectful, and that's what led to these steps. When they try to build up these best friends, I didn't really know that this girl was her best friend because they just didn't act that way. The girl's not even seen in the film until they pick her up. She's in the film for about 5 minutes, then she goes and gets killed. I didn't know how deep their relationship was, but the story starts to unravel it like they are. And then there's even a little small dedication of showing pictures that shows that this girl is a clear, close, like a best friend to her. But we didn't get that. So it was hard for us to kind of connect and feel very close, I guess, in a sense, to this character, because we just weren't given that backstory to make us really care, I guess. And then a lot of things are because my fiance at one point was annoyed because the father automatically walked up to the mother when the girl went missing and said, hey, I knew they would do it, because apparently this is something they've done before. So that's why the girl's character, her name was Brittany, the one that was killed, her father comes up to the mother and says, oh, they've done this before. And so he immediately comes to her when he realizes that his daughter's missing. And that's what spirals this man too, because then he starts to realize that they're hiding something. And this just kind of furthers the plot more, because now they have this man breathing down their back, threatening them, chasing them, wants to talk to the daughter. But when they were devising this plan for her to get killed, which, I'm sorry, I understand that the main character, the girl, was a little... But for her friend to think that this was a good idea too, I'm questioning a lot of things. That to me was a little weird or off. It just seemed, are we stretching? Then again, there are those groups of teenagers that decide to get pregnant all at the same time because they think that that's a cute idea. It's a thing. It was a movie. Anyways, let's just say this is when teenage ideas go real wrong. But the whole leaving of the pocketbook, her leaving her phone, the smashed phone. Did either one of these bitches not watch an episode of Criminal Intent, Mysteries Unsolved, or any murder mystery show? None of them? You've never seen an episode of this? What the fuck made you think leaving evidence at the crime scene? This is what ends up being the undoing, I want you to know. Well, no, not really. The inhaler ends up being her undoing. But for the father's aspect of it, the pocketbook was a big thing, that it was left behind. Why did she have to leave her pocketbook in order to be pronounced? You know what I mean? She could have just left without a trace. That would have made things more believable. But the simple fact that both of them thought that leaving a pocketbook behind was a good idea only furthers the mental fuckedness of these two teenagers, and clearly they've never seen a criminal show. We don't really get much from these two characters. The few minutes that we do spend with the friend is very weird. She quickly annoys the main character and seems like she's being mean or being a bully. Then all of a sudden she starts like showing that she's like getting hot for the father over the fact that he's in a band, which I'm a little concerned. They've been quote unquote best friends for a while, right? I don't know. This story doesn't really show. But like, she's acting all hot for her dad. Has she not met her dad before? There was a lot of questions where I'm just like, and these were one of those questions. The film doesn't tell you how long these girls have been friends for. It doesn't tell you like, if like, once again, it doesn't show anything. It's a very big disconnect. I was like, oh, so she's never met her real dad before? That's kind of weird because I'm assuming they're very close. Doesn't tell you, I think they do tell you how long the divorce was though. I think it was about a year, but still, is she actively not seeing her father a lot? There was just a lot of little details that were left out in this film to help it really round out well, so that I feel like I got everything. But just the small snippet that I got with her best friend, I didn't really care for this best friend. Honestly, the first impression I thought of her was she's a mean girl who obviously likes older guys because seemed like she was very interested in the father, which pissed off the main character. But yeah, so it was little details like that were left out of the film that would have helped to really round out this character more. I want to talk about the father, Brittany's father, which is the girls who got killed. Basically, they're trying to incriminate the father. They go behind his house and try to hide her pocketbook somewhere in his backyard. The father randomly pops up at night in front of the mother, which I already saw was coming. But I'm like, that's really coincidental. Why would he be outside at that time? Just taking a night walk? Like, the film doesn't show that he has this tendency to do that, so it almost just makes it seem like it's a coincidence. It's just too well of a coincidence. It's like he was supposed to be there. It was very planned for him to randomly pop up at night while they're trying to incriminate him, which then leads to the scene where they end up deciding that they're gonna kill her father, because that's the only way they can get him to stop nagging them, which they went from trying to incriminate this man to just deciding to kill him. I don't know how they thought that was a better option. Once again, I'm going to assume these characters have mental issues as well, because that's the only way you would think, that's the only way you can come to the conclusion that incriminating a person or allowing a person to die or killing a person over having your daughter be penalized for what she did. For them to make that decision. He was an innocent man just looking for his daughter, and they just thought, no, he deserves to die. So at the end of the film, the girl pops out, right? And she's like, surprise bitches, I'm actually alive. But she doesn't go see her best friend first. She goes to see her best friend's parents, who are currently in the garage wiping the father's blood off their car. And she somehow gets access to the garage to say hi to them. Now, we don't, once again, this is our second time seeing this character. We don't know what her relationship is with other characters other than the main character, the girl. I don't know if she's that cool with them that she just shows up in their garage like she's done it before. I'm assuming the garage was locked though. Who keeps the garage open? And she came through a different door because it was two doors. There was this door on the side, and then there was the other door behind the dad, if I'm remembering correctly. She comes in through the side door where the mother is washing the blood out of the sink. Then she says, can I see Kayla? Kayla says, oh, blah, blah, blah. I'm sorry. I didn't think it was basically says that it was a lie. She just really wanted to see her boyfriend. And can she go see Kayla? Wait, how did you get in the garage, number one? Number two, you didn't go see your best friend first? Why would you go see her parents first? Like, that just makes no sense to me. Especially because she wasn't tight with the father, because it seemed like that was the first time she met the father. I also don't know what her relationship with the mother was either, because they never showed that. She wasn't in the movie that long. And then she sees the blood towel, so she starts to realize that obviously she walked into a very uncomfortable situation. Mother tells her to just get the fuck out and leave. And the fuck? You can't come through the front door? When did we stop coming through the front door? Why was that not an option? And once again, for me, it's like, I have no problem with her coming in the garage because, that's a thing. Best friends do that, or people in general that are close in the neighborhood do that. When you have that kind of familiarity with a family, yeah, it's a total thing. But they never established this with us. So it was just randomly having this random girl, this is our second time seeing her, we don't really know much about her, the relationship she had with other people or the family, for her to just come out of nowhere and go to the parents first. I was just like, and then they walk out to see their daughter just on her fucking phone like she's watching TikToks. And she gives the best line of the movie and just looks at them and goes, "What? Why are you both looking at me that way? Sis? Really? You don't know why we're looking at you this way?" Like I said, it's not a bad film. There's just the execution of it, the pacing, the way that they built up the story and the characters could have been done a lot better. But I think the underlining of the film is, once again, about mental health and just how far somebody can be neglected and what it can lead to if a person is neglected this long, especially a child, you know? Because this girl clearly has no sense of right from wrong, or just good idea, bad idea. Like she does, you know what I mean? Like she's just very, very unstable. To not even know that like committing a murder or lying about committing a murder is a bad idea in so many ways, shapes, or forms. That's pretty bad, you know? But yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and wrap up this review because I feel like honestly I've said enough. I think it is a film you should watch. You know, it's a film I would recommend, but you take it for what it is. Don't expect something else out of this film. Like I don't want to say expected too much. Try to think of the deeper meaning of the film is what I can say. Because if you go in there not really thinking of the deeper meaning behind this and understanding why the characters are doing this or why the main character does this, she clearly is very sick. She clearly has a mental issue. And this is more like a just, hey, this is how far it's going to go because she's got issues. We've already established she has issues, and so this is how far this is going to go. So if you go into the film knowing that, thinking that, and like understanding that, you're going to be okay. And you might actually enjoy the film. I'm going to go ahead and give The Lie a 3.5 out of 5. Guys, thanks so much for watching this video. If you have seen this movie before, I would love to hear your thoughts or any comments on how you feel just about the issue in general. Thank you guys so much for watching this video, and I'll catch you on the next one. See ya!